Okay, folks, we're getting close to the finish line here. We have TJ Goldsby, VP of Sales and Dealer Relations, AKA the
punching bag.
That's exactly who I am at Stereophile. I'm the punching bag. Nice. I've earned my rights. I've earned my stripes. So we have a lot of things to talk about here in this access room, not to mention these skyscraper speakers.
Yeah.
But first we'll start with the source,
yes,
which kind of deals with the resurgence of Koetsu. Tell me about this story and how they came back.
Okay, so as we're saying to everyone, Koetsu's back, baby. So Koetsu was reintroduced to the market last year, AXPONA 2025, with just some of the wood-bodied units. And Arturo Manzano, former CEO of Axis Audio Distribution, he got involved. He got everyone at Koetsu back together. So the heart and soul of that company, he got all of the factory workers back. I believe they're in the exact same factory. He put the band back together, essentially. Everyone went back to work, and they started with rebuilds of the original cartridges and started manufacturing the new cartridges, which are exactly to spec of the original. So getting the band back together and now producing the cartridges exactly the way they were. There's no reason to deviate from how great Koetsu was. So they go right back to work, all of the original factory workers. One thing that they did change is now the mounting apparatus is threaded. So the ever-dreaded small nut is no longer needed. So they did the world a service, we think. So keeps a lot of frustration down.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. So what are the first cartridges out of the gate, or is it the same cartridges?
They're the exact same cartridges. There's no new models. Basically, why reinvent the wheel? I mean, right. Koetsu's Koetsu. People buy it because it's Koetsu, and it invokes a certain feeling. And the good thing about Koetsu is that it was already awesome to begin with. It's unfortunate what happened. Arturo had vision, and they were able to, again, get the band back together. All the models are coming out in succession. And this year, he actually launched the Onyx, relaunched the Onyx, the first in the stone bodies that will be coming back to market.
How would you qualify the sound of Koetsu?
I'm going to quote Arturo because we talked about this a little while ago, because I asked him this very same question because I figured you would ask the question. Sure. I said, Arturo, what comparative to another manufacturer, and his best, without saying, okay, it could be more dynamic, it's got more of this type of feel. He says, when you listen to a record that you've played probably 100 times, you use a Koetsu that 101 time, you're going to notice the difference. It's going to be more engaging, it's going to be more gripping, it's going to be more compelling. And that's the best way he could describe it. That's the best way I'm going to describe it.
Okay. And Steve Holland was saying this is the first time these four massive AccuPhase power amps have been displayed together. Why do we have them all together?
Well, number one, we wanted to look cool. But number two, we knew we had a very big room that wasn't ideal for an audio setup. This is a convention hall exhibit room, and not really made for an audio system. So we were thinking, okay, we knew we were bringing the speakers in. That's a given. So this is the showpiece. This is what's going to interact with the room. How are we going to drive these speakers the way we want? I got the idea of bi-amping them. Unfortunately, the president of Axis, he's a little more technical than I am. He says, oh no, we're going to bridge these suckers. So these amplifiers, this is the model A300. It's a 125 watt pure class A mono block. It's a phenomenal amplifier. It's infamous already, and it's just a beast of an amplifier. And you guys were very kind to give it some really good accolades not too long ago, so we really appreciate it. But this amplifier is wired in such a way that few amplifiers in the home market are wired this way. It allows you to actually link two together, which is really cool. So the top amplifier, we actually have, say, the positive connection. Now we have a ground wire that actually connects the two amps together. And the bottom amplifier now has the negative connection. So now what we've done is we've doubled our output at 8 ohms times 4. So I say double, but we've actually quadrupled it. There's a better word for it. So now we have more power. So we've essentially bridged the amplifiers is what we've done. So we have more power, more clean power to drive these speakers, so they perform more effortless in an imperfect room.
What's the turntable?
The turntable is a Transrotor Rondino Nero.
Now, these speakers, I remember when I was a kid and I was playing in rock and roll bands, there's a brand called Custom, and they pleated all the speakers, and they look just like these. So what are these massive speakers?
Well, you know, it's funny you mentioned Custom because being from Memphis and a lot of pawn shops in Memphis, Tennessee, and being in a band back in the day, I remember the Custom brand. Right. And this does give a custom guitar amp vibe. Totally. I mean, it's very, and it's because of the color. If this was in the stark matte black, I don't think it would have that same appeal, but now we have the contrast. It does give that vibe a little bit, and I'm glad you picked up on that because I mentioned that previously. So what we have here is the Gauder Akustik DARC-240. Now, the reason why you see these ridges, these are actually aluminum ribs. So a lot of speaker manufacturers are using aluminum. It's an in vogue material to use for loudspeakers, and it's good if it's implemented properly. With some manufacturers, they're using full sheets of aluminum, and aluminum can ring like a bell. So if you were to knock on it without tons of internal bracing, it's going to ring like a bell. So getting back to the internal bracing, if you have a full sheet of metal for a loudspeaker, you've got to dampen it, and you got to do a lot of dampening. So you've got to engineer the engineering, if you will. These guys took a different approach. So from an exoskeleton type approach, what they've done is you have an aluminum rib, let's say it's 2 inches in height. You have the plinth, which is all aluminum. Now you have a damper, which is a contrasting material. We know that contrasting materials actually cancel out resonances. So what we've done, and what the manufacturer's done, I should say, is they've given perfect resonance control from the bottom all the way to the top. So you have damper, rib, damper, rib. So it's all aluminum with dampers held together with 4 tension rods internally. There are no screws holding that speaker together. And it's all under really, really strong tension.
Are you saying the entire height there are dampers?
Correct. The black lines represent the damper.
What's it made out of, the damper?
It's some sort of ABS type material, and that's the closest that I can relate to. Right. It's some special formulation. They're not talking. The closest thing that I've ever seen is an ABS type material.
And the 2 drivers on the top, 2 drivers on the bottom, they're all woofers?
Those are the woofers. Those are 9-inch woofers. The cabinet internally actually has 3 chambers. So the mid and high chamber, you have the top chamber for the 2 top woofers and for the bottom woofers. Bottom ported. In this case, it's also top ported.
There's a port on the back, on the bottom, and the top, like a regular.
There's actually no ports on the back. There's 2 ports on the bottom, 2 ports on the top.
Literally on the top.
Literally on the top.
Why did they do that's why? Why?
Well, because there's 3 separate chambers. So this woofer enclosure has no interaction with that woofer enclosure, nor do they have an interaction with the mid and tweeter cabinet.
But why do they pour it on top and not on the back of that?
Well, number one, you have a teardrop shape, which allows, number one, to remove any type of standing waves or reduce standing waves in the cabinet. Let's talk about the height of the speaker and the depth of the speaker. For its performance level, it's oddly small. Now, given it's tall, but the width and the depth of the cabinet is unusual for its performance output. What they want to allow the client to do in a given situation, if you're in tighter quarters, you can actually put this closer to a wall. If it was rear ported, we would have a little bit of an issue there. So if we port it on the top, now we eliminate that issue and we get more flexibility with placement.
Crazy. And do we have a Koetsu on that table?
We do, yeah. We do have the new Onyx.
Can we play some vinyl then? We'll do a demo.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I would like to invite my team from AccuPhase to actually drop the needle on the record because they are actually better at it than I am.
He senses it, but went too late. Listen. So.
Twist the words you send me. Makes me clear my thoughts and start to dream. Had no reason to smile when I looked at my screen, and everything changed. You reach my heart, I am only spending a minute of your day thinking about me, as I always think of you. You bring me out. And everything starts to shift the second I see you on my screen. Even though it's no more than a single word, it's just one word from you.